What's up? We got The Flash, Season 2, Episode 9, Running to Standstill. So this episode starts off with Harry, of all characters, running from something. And we learn that something is Zoom. How Zoom got to Earth 1, how he showed up here, and how Harry started running from him, we don't know. But all we know is Zoom's able to catch up to Harry and he's just like, and he's gonna like tell his daughter, she said, and he's like, say something, and he's like, Merry Christmas. And yeah, this is a Christmas episode because of course it is. So yeah, so we see Iris with those DC Universe's Flash dolls. Buy them now, which I never got, but I do have the Green Arrow DC Legends DC Universe over there. I do have the Green Arrow from another line where they released the Green Arrow, but anyway, I also have the Black Canary from the same line where they released the Flash one in this episode. Oh yeah, but it's the season 3 version of the Black Canary. But I'm just saying stuff now. So anyway, yeah. So Joe's talking. We see Joe, and he's talking about how he can't figure out what to buy Barry, and Iris is still lying to him about Wally being Joe's son. So then we see Barry and Patty kissing, and then Iris comes in to say, "Hey Barry, there's this thing that you just tell him it's about how Francine left, and when she lost them, she was pregnant with their son, her brother Wally West." And they're like, and she's like, her dad doesn't know because it will kill him, like Laurel said in season 3 of Arrow. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, because Laurel and Iris are keeping secrets from their respective fathers in season 2 of Flash and last season of Arrow, where they think if they tell them, it'll kill them, but it doesn't because they're main characters. So what's the point of keeping it a secret? They do tell Joe in this episode. So yeah, so then we see at a prison, we see it's snowing outside. But then the snow attacks them to reveal Mark Martin. Yeah, he's back. How did he get out of Star Labs? How did he break? Actually, wait, no. We knew how he broke out of Star Labs. Why am I saying that? We're seeing him since his last appearance in season 1, episode 22, Rogue Air. So he breaks Leonard Snart. And they're like, hey, can we go? And he's like, nope, one more person. And that one more person is Mark Hamill for his final appearance in the entire Flash television show. I love Mark Hamill. This episode just makes me love Mark Hamill. And he shows like Flash, and he shows up like, you know, when people make those paper like spread things, and he shows them in the lightning bolt of the Flash. He's like, it's looking to be a lot like Christmas. I love Mark Hamill. I'm not very good at Mark Hamill impression, but you gotta know, I'm a big fan of you, Mark. I even have a Luke Skywalker action figure. I love Mark Hamill. I really did a lot of things about me in this episode, but I'm just saying, I'm just gonna say, I love Mark Hamill based on his last appearance in season 1, episode 17. So, yeah. So Barry and Patty's kind of course, not gonna be clear in the head because Martin killed her dad, and he's like, Joe told her what Martin did, and she's like, Barry, I can't talk to you about this, and she was like, yeah, you don't see what's going on around the city. Yeah, he does. He's the Flash. And she was like, superpowers or not, I'm going to take down this guy. He's the Flash, Patty. I'm surprised she can't figure this out on her own. Every character on, like, yeah. I'm surprised she can't figure this out on her own. So Barry's, so they're like Mark Martin, Captain Cold, and the Trickster. Wow. And she's like, there's 3 of them, 1 of you, I don't like those odds. Caitlin's like, there's 3 of them, 1 of you, I don't like those odds. And Barry's like, yeah, you mean in the previous... And he's like, yeah, you created 1. And he's like, I don't remember that happening. He's like, yeah, there was a tidal wave, remember that scene where there was a tidal wave about the thing, and Harry's like, then why aren't y'all sleeping with the fishes? And he's like, because I ran back in time, and Harry's like, you shouldn't have done that. And he's like, that's what the other, said. And he's like, yeah, he was right. You shouldn't have done that. And he's like, well, in that other timeline, you created a wand to stop Mark Martin, and it worked. But now, you have to do it again, Cisco, for the 2nd/1st time in this new timeline. So she was like, wow, no pressure. So he was like, well, now he's got Jay to help him, so, yeah. So Mark and Jesse are fighting, and he's like, we have both interests. The Flash. There was a Zoom, or the speedster in black, injured him last week. So now we have to, and he's like, and Trickster, like, that was not my New Year's resolution, but I'm flexible. I love Mark Hamill. I just love him. This episode made me love Mark Hamill. So this is just me fanboying over how much I love Mark Hamill in the entire episode. So yeah, so they decide, so they're like, so cool down, Martin, don't have a snark. We can all attack the Flash together. But then Snark decides to break into Barry's home, and is like, and with a cup of coffee, he's like, ho ho ho, and he's like, you have the nerve to come breaking in my home. And he's like, hold up, I made some upgrades to the cold gun. If it just hits, if I happen to tap on that trigger, it can go critical. You might survive. Iris, you might die. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So he's like, yeah, it's called. He's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, Martin broke me and Jesse out to kill you. Martin wants revenge. Jesse wants chaos. I don't think that's what I want. It doesn't think what Snart is in the mix for. Wait, it's not working. It's not what he's in the mix for. So, yeah. So he's like, yeah, so Joe's like, he's like, Patty's like, I'm not his babysitter, but he's like, wait a minute, I actually don't. So then he's like, the red flash-nosed reindeer have very shiny nose. If you ever saw it, it would want to make you puke. I love Mark Hamill, even though that's not what he said. That's not the whole song. The Flash, the Scarlet Speedster. He has a red lightning. If you ever saw it, it wanna make you puke. I love Mark Hamill again. Mark Hamill's amazing. This episode is just me loving Mark Hamill. It's me loving Mark. Thank you, Mark Hamill, even though you don't appear in the show again. Thank you. But yeah, so they're like, hey, let's go. So yeah, so they track him down. They track him down, and Barry's like, and he's like, stay close to me. And she's like, I'm seeing someone, and he's like, I'm seeing someone too. Excuse me, Patty. The person that's you're talking to is the guy you're seeing. You're just too not that smart to figure it out. You're meant to be a cop. Come on, figure it out. So yeah. So after she's like, I'm going after Mark Martin. And he's like, I know it's your father, but I don't think this is what you want. And she's like, I don't care. It was her. Mark Martin killed her dad. She killed her dad, not Mark Martin, because she wanted to play silly with her friend, which caused him to do her job that day and caused him to die. So yeah, and she started thinking about how even her relationship with Barry doesn't feel real. So yeah, he's like, yeah, Patty didn't come. So she's like, how's your relationship, Patty? She's like, yeah, she didn't come. She told the Flash the truth, but not him. And she's like, yeah. So they build. So Barry stops Mark Martin, but Mark Martin just flies. He just flies now. Okay, Mark Martin flies now. He just flies now. What is going? So he's like, but then Harry's like, yeah, he can fly, and then Jay's like, Barry, get him. So yeah. So then we see Mark. So then we see Mark. So then we see Mark Hamill, or Trickster, giving to. He's like, yeah, he sold 100 presents, which are actually literal bombs, and he's like, and he's like, you're just gonna sit there and let me kill you, Flash, or we're gonna let kids die. So, not the kids, actually, really not the kids, because these. So then Harry's like, yeah, we can just, if we use that wand to like throw them, create like a thing to throw them up, and they can just blow up in the earth too. So Harry just shows up, says, hey, give me your presents. He's like, Mom, and then we just see him with one of the presents. How did he get in there? How? It's never explained. The kid's just like, Mom, and then we just see Harry with the present. My mind is confused. So yeah. So Barry puts strobe lights around the Trickster, ending the Trickster's career as a villain on it. That's how you end Mark Hamill's timeline on the show, having just be stored up in strobe lights. That's very disappointing. Mark Hamill, you deserved a better finale for your 2 episodes on this show. And I don't know why he didn't come back. He's great. I love Mark Hamill. And yeah, so then Barry's, so Patty shoots a meta dampener on Barry. Barry's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what? You had to say, what are you doing 2 times? He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, say it once and then be done with it. Don't say it twice. That just sounds like lazy writing. So then, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I would just, she was like, I would just turn that down to him saying, what are you doing? And then her say what she's about to say. Not, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's just so dumb. It's just so bad. And then he's like, I didn't know your father, but your father wouldn't want you to, and if you kill Mark Martin, you will go to prison. Your life will end. So then thanks to the Flash's speech, she arrests Mark Martin. So Joe and Barry and Iris finally tell Joe about Wally and Joe blames himself, saying about how if he knew, he could have actually helped her raise his son, but he's like, so yeah. So then at the Christmas party, who shows up but Wally West, So then Harry meets up with Zoom, and Zoom's like, what? He's like, you're fattening up like Christmas goose. And he's like, the more power the Flash has, the more I can take. And he's like, you're trying to take the Flash's. And he's like, fine, I'll help you steal the Flash's speed in exchange for getting his daughter back. So, that's the episode. We finally met Wally. The Trickster is finally done on this show. Mark Martin, even though he's not done on the show, I thought the way they took Mark Hamill off was really disappointing. I felt like it was really disappointing. Like, Mark Martin was Mark Hamill, the Trickster, was a really good villain, but the way they took, and Snart doesn't even show up for the rest of the episode. He just says what he says and then leaves. He doesn't even help them defeat them in the end. So what was the point of having him in the episode if you're just gonna sideline him? Like, he could have been the main villain. Get rid of Martin, just have him and Jesse be together, and then we could have a Snart Trickster versus the Flash. But no, just James Jesse's final appearance had to be really disappointing, and it kind of takes down this episode for me. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. But anyway, that's it for the episode. I'll see. Wally's finally introduced in the show. Of course, in the comics, Wally is a ginger-looking kid. But in the show, he's not ginger at all. And we know why. But anyway, that was it for this video. And I'll see you next time for more of The Flash. Hopefully, next episode is kind of way better than this one. For a Christmas episode, this episode's really disappointing. This episode's really disappointing as a Christmas episode, and I'll see you next time for more of The Flash.